The following movie was created for a secondary grades history class to highlight events in the fall of the last Russian Tsar, Nicholas II. This movie can be used in a variety of ways, including as a hook, to instruct, to review, or even to remediate. It is good for differentiating for visual auditory learners. Enjoy. The majority of Russia's people were serfs or slaves. They were very poor, having no land or money of their own. Their lives were hard, and they rarely had enough to eat. There was much disparity between the opulence of the Tsars and the poverty of the serfs. Prior to the revolution, the Russian monarchy had become progressively weaker while trying to oppress the Russian people. Tsar Nicholas II followed in former Tsars' footsteps by using severe measures to subdue resistance movements, which were becoming bolder and more widespread every year. The oppressions imposed by Nicholas incited still more unrest. He was a clumsy and ineffective leader. His avoidance of direct involvement in government caused resentment among the Russian people, which resulted in violence. This turned out to be fatal to him and his family. Grigory Rasputin, an advisor to the Tsar's family, had a great deal of influence on decisions leading to the revolution. He was a Russian peasant and self-proclaimed mystic who gained significant influence over Tsar Nicholas. The Russian people began to believe that the Tsar himself was under Rasputin's influence. Aware that his presence was damaging Nicholas II's credibility, supporters of the Tsar murdered Rasputin. Russia entered World War I in 1914, fighting against Germany. Tsar Nicholas II did not want war, but failed to keep his country out of the battle. Millions of soldiers were killed or wounded. They did not have enough food, clothes, or weapons. At home, the people were suffering with continued severe shortages of food and fuel. In addition, they were being overworked under poor working conditions. The people of Russia were very discontent, leading to an increase in violent demonstrations and riots. Tsar Nicholas ignored the fact that his people were unhappy and that Germany was winning the war. Russian revolutionaries organized workers against the Tsar and marched to the royal palace in St. Petersburg. The group was led by a priest who hoped the list of demands would lessen discontentment. The guards of the palace fired into the crowds, killing more than 100 and wounding several hundred. This made the people even angrier. This event is known as Bloody Sunday. After this bloody slaughter, the Russians lost their age-old faith in the Tsar as the great guardian of his people. Later that year, another revolution led by communist Vladimir Lenin took control of Russia. Lenin reorganized the country and called it the Soviet Union. He replaced Russia's traditional monarchy with the world's first communist state. Nicholas II and his family were imprisoned by the revolutionaries and shot to death on July 17, 1918. Nicholas II was the last Tsar of Russia. His execution ended 300 years of Tsarist rule. As a new era begins, Lenin addresses the crowds at the Winter Palace.
In an oddly pedantic phrase, Vladimir Lenin told the nation, "We shall now proceed to construct the socialist order." But only now did the real problems begin.